Hey everyone, it's Dev. Welcome back to An Emo Girl's Guide to the Galaxy. This is a safe space for readers, weebs, emos, and everyone in between. So, as always, if you love sarcasm and hate the patriarchy, you've come to the right place.
We're giving you updates again this week, and I'm starting because I'm a reading machine! And I'm so excited. I haven't read this much in, years, so I'm stoked.
I need to take inspiration from you.
I know, because I wish I could, give you some of whatever's happening to me right now, but I don't...
Yeah. The planets are all in retrograde, but it's not affecting you.
Or it's affecting me in a good way? I don't know what's happening, but...
Yeah.
I'm trying to listen to audiobooks again, which is part of why I've been able to read more. And it's been a process to figure out. I'm learning the hard way that I can't listen to anything that's overly complicated. I tried to start listening to Crown of Ivy and Glass by Claire Legrand, and I could not.
Yeah.
I lasted 20 minutes. I was like, I can't do this. I kept having to rewind, and I was like, not worth it. So,
you're like, physical book it is.
Yeah, if the world building and the plot isn't too complicated, then I can work and listen at the same time. So I started reading this Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron, and it was so good. I loved it. I don't know. I was reading it because I thought it would be good for spooky season, and it is very witchy, but I don't know. It takes place during the summer, which kind of kills the autumn vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's so good. 5 stars. I loved it. I want to read the next one because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. But I finished The Curse of Saints before our last episode with Kate. If you haven't listened to that, you should, because it's a good interview. And it was so fun having her on. But I finished The Curse of Saints. I finished a Werebear book. I listened to this Poison Heart. I read The Coven by Harper L. Woods. I listened to that audiobook too, which was an experience.
Was the book good?
I think I liked it. It's a dark romance, and in the beginning, the very first page is a list of trigger warnings, and then the author is the male love interest in this book is he's a villain. I'm just telling you, he's a bad guy who just happens to get a happy ending.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then somehow I read the book and then forgot that she said that. And then at the end I was like, oh yeah, this is why you said that. The main heroine kind of bugged the shit out of me, but I loved the vibe. The vibe.
Yeah.
It's about a witch. She has to go to this witch school under the guise of she's trying to find the bones of her ancestor for reasons, and she needs to seduce the headmaster to find out where the bones are. And she gets to the school and immediately doesn't do the only thing she has to do. She does a bunch of other shit, and I'm like, what do you do? You had one job. And then it all kind of blows up. But it's it takes place at a witch school, and it's a coven of witches, and there's talking skeletons and stuff, so it's very spooky season, and I liked the vibes. And I'm totally going to read the next one, but the ending was crazy. So yeah, there's that one. I finished Serpent in the Wings of Night, which is our book club read this week, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yep, I'm reading it. I'm reading it right now. I stopped Swordcatcher, so that way I could read Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I think I'm almost 100 pages-ish.
Do you like it?
So I have... Yeah, it's fun. I just, again, have a short attention span these days, but it's enjoyable. I'm getting into it.
I'm obsessed with it.
She just finished the intro, the introduction to the whole thing. She wakes up in that weird palace.
Oh yeah, that's when shit starts going down. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's after that first night, then that's where I stopped, I think. And she meets the weird stranger that everybody's I've never seen him before. So I have a good feeling about him.
Yeah. There's a part in that scene where she's running around in the dark trying to figure out where she is, and then he grabs her, and he's like, I forget. He's trying to save her from being.
Yeah, he says everyone over there is dead. Like, you don't want to go that way.
And she
They're
stabs
gonna hear
him in
you.
the thigh.
Yeah.
And I annotated mine, and I wrote down, like, all the best couples stab each other.
It's true, though.
It's true. But I finished that one, and then there's a novella that happens between the first book and the second book, so I read that. It's called Six Scorched Roses, and it's really good, too.
Great. I have so much stuff to catch up on. So after this, I will be reading Serpent and the Wings of Night immediately after we finish recording this.
I hope you love it as much as I did. Sometimes I feel done. Like, this book has had so much hype around it, and I always want to be cool and not feed into the hype, but I read this and I was like, I love it!
Yeah, you're like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. That's all really I got. I haven't really done anything. I've officially transitioned into a grandma because I started teaching myself how to crochet, and I've just been doing that all weekend to, like, disassociate from reality.
Yeah. That sounds fun, though. I would want to do that if I knew how to crochet. Maybe I'll get a set, like a beginner set.
Yeah, I've just been crocheting a blanket, which is just, like, 2 different kinds of stitches I had to learn.
Yeah.
And then I do that, and I listen to an audiobook before bed, and it's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what it's like to be old.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, I've been so busy, and I don't know how I've been surviving life. Like,
You've had a lot going on.
Recently, yeah, I just finished recuperating from California's for Lovers. That was fun. It was just in a random field with a bunch of emo bands and no cell service at all. Super fun times. And then I did more shows because I now through Goob have DIY shows to go to. And then we also saw Coraline in theaters, remastered. It's actually very beautiful. It's a very beautiful movie.
I've always wanted to watch that, and I never have, so it's
very, yeah, it's really nice. Like, it's just, like,
I love
stunning
Neil Gaiman,
visually.
too, so I don't know how I've not seen it yet, but...
Yeah, and it's a good spooky movie if you're not, like, big into scary stuff. Like, obviously, it's probably scary for, like, younger kids, or, I don't know, if you're really... a scaredy cat, but it's just like the vibes, the mood.
Spooky vibes.
It's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since I've been gone for forever, I came home to like a bunch of book mail, and I was like, oh my god, I got books. I got Assistant to the Villain, which I know you've been eyeballing.
I'm so jealous. I know.
So I got that. Maybe I can finish reading it, and then I can like ship it over so you can read it too, and we can like talk about it. It could be, we can do it for our next book club.
Yeah.
And then we both got A Reckless Oath, which is,
I'm so excited, Kaylee Smith.
Kaylee Smith's new book. It's the second book in her series, and the first book is A Ruinous Fate. And it's through Disney, so everybody go read it.
I'm so excited.
YA
I got
fantasy.
it in the mail, and I was like, don't start reading this. You have so many other things you have to read.
I know, I have so
and
much
I've been
stuff.
just, like, longingly staring at it.
So, I've been getting books in. I've been trying to read them. Eventually, I will get to all of them. But, yeah, I
wish I had... I don't know what sparked this reading thing that I'm going through. I think it's like the pressure of being judged by the listeners of this podcast that's keeping me going. I don't know.
We're doing it for you. We're reading for you. Also, something else that I've been doing, which has nothing to do with reading, but I just think it's fun for anybody who is getting ready for spooky season, is I'm rewatching Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, which is one of my favorite like horror shows out there. And if you didn't know, the dude who created it, I think his name is Mike Flanagan. He hid a bunch of ghosts in each of the episodes, and so as I'm watching them, I go back and I read the articles that are like, all of the hidden ghosts you missed in The Haunting of Hill House, and I'll scroll through so that way when I'm watching it, I can like pause and like look for the ghosts that are in the scenes.
Oh, that's cute!
So, if you're looking for something to do for spooky season, and you're ready, for September to start, even though technically we still have a month of summer.
I had my
You can do that like I am.
I had my first pumpkin spice. It was a chai latte, iced chai latte, pumpkin spice chai latte. God damn it, it was so good.
I also had one. It was like the pumpkin cream chai or whatever it was.
It was oh, it's back.
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty good.
I love chai and I love pumpkin spice, so together.
But yeah, that's what we've been doing. So hopefully I get to reading, and Loretta is just on top of it. She's
all
the new
Virgo queen. All the planets are in the microwave and everything is up in the air. So read books.
But today our main topic is Shakespeare adaptations. We wanted to do classic adaptations, but we felt like that would be way too broad because there are so many classics and so many adaptations. Mm-hmm. So we're starting off with the main one that everybody loves to talk about, which is Shakespeare. And if this is something that you all want more of, we can do more adaptation and retelling episodes with different authors or different genres or whatever it might be.
This is really just an excuse for us to talk about like late 90s, early 2000s movies.
Yeah, honestly, it's just an excuse for me to talk about She's the Man, so.
Any excuse, yeah.
But yeah, I'll kick things off by saying that as I was prepping for this episode, I didn't realize that I haven't actually read a lot of Shakespeare retellings or adaptations. I've seen way more movies that are based on Shakespeare. So I do have some books. I've read a lot
of actual Shakespeare, but I haven't read a lot of books that are retellings of Shakespeare.
Same. Yeah. But I did research. I found some good ones that I'm interested in, so I'm going to share them here because
I feel like you took all the good movies. Recs. Yeah.
We can talk about them together.
Yeah.
But obviously I have to kick things off with She's the Man because that movie is one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. It's Amanda Bynes at her prime. Channing Tatum before he was Channing Tatum. Like, I think at least.
It's
like, that was like one of his first
bigger
movies.
When it came out, and it's wild to think about Channing Tatum, like seeing Channing Tatum then before he was anything, and like now he's huge. I don't know. It's so weird.
Yes. So, in case anybody doesn't know what Shakespeare play this is based off of, it's Twelfth Night. There are actually a lot of these, I think, that I would like realize after the fact. Like Twelfth Night is one of the more popular ones, but
the dressing as a man thing. Yeah. Motocross is one that I have on my list from Disney.
I love motocross. Yes. But also She's the Man just has so many epic like one-liners too.
Oh my God,
like can we just
good.
talk like does he have your number? 1-800-BIATCH?
Oh, Eunice.
What does she say? She's like, I made you breakfast, honey, or I made you breakfast, darling. Look, and when my eyes are closed, I see you for what you really
are. That's ugly. That's the best
I feel like I'm gonna petition to create She's the Man / bookish memes for the week that this episode goes live.
We should totally do that.
So if anybody wants some bookish meme / Shakespeare adaptation meme crossover, check out our Instagram page.
Yeah. Oh my God. That whole bit where she's in the restaurant and she has to break up with her brother's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because she thinks it's anyway, yeah.
It's all so good.
Oh,
Sebastian! It's so good.
I got a lifetime of knowledge.
They put in a lot of Shakespeare like nods. Obviously, like the names of the schools. Well, the names of the schools are like the locations
Illyria
in the play, I believe.
And, yeah.
And then
that whole dramatic thing where Channing Tatum's on the soccer field and he's like, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness." Actual Shakespeare quote.
That's Shakespeare. And then I think the name of, what's his face is like Tarantula or whatever is also...
Oh, yeah!
I think actually most of the characters are character names from the play.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, I think they are. But anyway, that was my first pick,
I'm trying to remember the tarantula's name, and now I can't remember, but I'll remember it at like 3 a.m. later.
While you're talking about your pick, I'm going to look this up because I need to know now.
Yeah, Motocrossed is the one that I have from 12th Night. Classic Disney movie from like circa, I don't know, early thousands. And it's about a chick who's super good at motocross, and she has to dress up like a guy to be in the competition, and I can't remember why. I can't remember if she's taking the place of her brother.
Yes, her brother.
Okay.
They're twins. And then I think he gets hurt, and she says, "Oh, I can do it. Like, I'm just as good as him. I can
and
be...
the family needs
I can
her,
take his place."
like, needs the money, or I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then she falls in love with a guy who's there, and I loved it so much. Classic.
Classic Disney Channel original movie when they were good. I watched
it and I was like, yeah, girls are badass motocrossers too, even though I have never motocrossed in my life. Another good one I have on my list is Valley Girl, Romeo and Juliet. Classic 1980s. Young Nick Cage.
Also, the name of the tarantula is Malvolio.
Malvolio! Yeah, that's an actual person from the play.
It says Olivia has a steward named Malvolio who is in love with her, and the character the character Malcolm, who is the dude who is in love with Olivia, has a tarantula named Malvolio.
It's perfect.
Speaking of 80s, I also have an 80s movie on here called Just One of the Guys, which is based off of 12th Night. And I feel like I've seen this movie. It's one of like the more niche 80s movies.
I pride myself on knowing 80s movies too, so I'm very upset with myself.
It's about a girl, and she's like a high school journalist, and she wants to be taken more seriously, so she goes undercover as a boy, and she like cuts her hair and starts dressing differently, and then like pretends to be a boy for the sake of journalism.
Oh my god, the movie
and that's
poster.
Obviously based off of 12th Night.
I need to watch this immediately when we're done recording this.
Yes, please let me know if it still holds up in the year 2023.
Oh, so good. I have a lot of actual Shakespeare adaptations, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Romeo and Juliet, a classic. I was obsessed with that movie. I was obsessed with the soundtrack of this movie. It was my whole personality for like all through middle school. The
soundtrack of the Romeo and Juliet is so good.
It's so good. Like, I still listen to it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's that everything about that that adaptation is great. That's my favorite too.
Mercutio, when he makes that specifically in the Leonardo DiCaprio version, when he makes that speech about Queen Mab. Oh my god, I love it so much. It's like my favorite. The 1999 Midsummer Night's Dream, also a favorite that I still watch to this day.
I don't think I've seen that one, but speaking of A Midsummer Night's Dream, I have seen Get Over It with Kristen Dunst.
I love that movie.
You are obsessed.
I know, I forgot that movie existed, and then I looked at the notes, and I saw that you wrote it down, and I was like, oh my god, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because obviously it's not like a direct adaptation. Like they're in high school and he joins the play to like get her back.
Kind of?
Yeah, and then the play that they're doing in the movie is A Midsummer Night's Dream. Yeah. So it's like they're living it twice.
It's such a good like teen movie though.
Yeah, very very niche. I feel like it wasn't very popular back in the day.
It was not. I can't even remember. I found it on TV or something one day when I was young, and I was like, oh my god, I love it.
I feel like that one might be one of those that, like, might not hold up.
Yeah.
But if anybody does watch it, let me know. I just know that it is a retelling and it is an adaptation, so if you're into it, let me know.
I remember there's, like, a big dance number at the end to... like September. Do you remember? I don't know why I remember that, but
yeah, probably because Cisco is in that movie, so he probably like does all the singing stuff.
Oh my god, I forgot about Cisco. Wow.
What else do I have on here? Also, quick shout out to Romeo and Juliet. I know we were talking about Romeo and Juliet earlier. That is a cute adaptation. The music is great. It has James McAvoy.
I love James McAvoy.
Romeo. So, like, you can't go wrong.
I didn't watch that for a long time, and then I finally was on TV or something, and I watched it one day, and I was like, oh my god, this is, like, actually good.
It's so cute.
It's adorable.
It's cute if you go into it not expecting a lot. Like, obviously, you're going to be like,
terrible,
oh my god.
So I went into it, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah. So if you're looking for something to watch with the whole family, Romeo and Juliet.
I see on your list that you wrote down West Side Story, and of course the classic West Side Story is amazing, but did you see the one that they just did?
I did not see the new one. I refuse. It looked not good.
I actually really loved it a lot, but why in God's name did they cast Ansel Elgort? Why? Someone needs to tell me why they did that.
That's my only note. My only caveat of the original movie is that it's brown face. Like, they didn't hire anybody of, like, Puerto Rican descent except for, I forget her name. There's, like, one Puerto Rican in the whole movie when they're all supposed to be from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So, I know that it was made a long time ago, but just go into it knowing that it's not as diverse as it could have been.
It's a movie of the time it was made in.
Yes, exactly.
In the era of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes.
And...
Yeah, it is really... I did enjoy it. I do enjoy West Side Story. I do enjoy Officer Crumpkey and all the music. I'm here for it. Yep. Like, I Want to Be in America, like, banger. That whole soundtrack, amazing.
Oh my god, yeah. That's what I loved about the new one, because everyone was authentically cast, but god damn it, Ansel Elgort. God. It was so good, and then he would pop on screen, and he took me right out of it. I was like, what the fuck are you like, doing
whoa.
Here? Get out.
Jump scare.
Yeah, I hated it. I hated that part of it.
Also, The Lion King, obviously a classic.
Hamlet,
I know everybody
perfect.
knows that it's Hamlet. I feel like it makes sense that it's based off of Shakespeare because it's truly traumatizing. Like, you're telling me that you're taking your child to go watch a story about a lion cub who sees his dad get murdered, and then, like, runs away and lives in the... lives away from
with
his
a
den.
pig and a...
Like... How do you watch that and not, like, be traumatized for life? I don't know,
this
but...
movie made me cry. Oh, it's Shakespeare.
Makes sense. It makes sense to true tragedy.
I did want to mention, one of my friends and I have this running thing where we have Zoom dates, and then we'll watch terrible movies. Like, we purposely watch really bad movies.
Yeah.
And one that we watched a while ago was Rosaline on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, this is going to be terrible. And then we watched it, and it was actually really good. It was kind of a vibe kill because we want terrible movies, and then it was good.
Yeah. You're like, great, we like this.
I know. But it's really fun. It's Romeo and Juliet, but told from Rosaline's perspective, and it's really, it's hilarious. So I recommend that one.
I need to watch that. I also you have it on here under books, so I think this is a good transitional, from movies to books, but you have Warm Bodies in books, and I have Warm Bodies because I didn't realize that movie was based off of a book that is based off of Romeo and Juliet, and I was like,
I didn't know that movie was a
sense.
book either, and then I was looking up to see if I could find any other books that were adaptations, and that came up, and I was like, this was a book? But it's a book by Isaac Marion. So yeah, I love the movie though. When they give him a makeover, he's like a zombie and he gets a makeover.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Also, before we move into books, 10 Things I Hate About You, I had to call it out because it's a classic. Heath Ledger, Taming of the Shrew. I actually read that play in, like, I don't know, 12th grade English. We read that and we got to watch the movie, which, like, I don't know if that was acceptable or not, but it's actually, I think, one of his better plays. I think that one is really funny.
I took a Shakespeare elective in college, And it was great. I loved it a lot. It was funny because the professor who taught the class was a filmmaker, and I'm forgetting what he did in film, but he was way into movies. So he would teach us about Shakespeare, and then sometimes we would ask him questions about movies just to get him going, because he would rant forever, and then we wouldn't have any homework.
Yeah.
But we got to see, like, he had an early copy of The Tempest with Helen Mirren, so we got to watch that early.
That's
because
cool.
He, like, is part of the people who vote on the Oscars and stuff.
Yes.
Anyway.
The Academy.
Yeah. That's The Tempest is one of my favorite plays, too, so that was really cool.
That's cool.
Also,
Deliver Us from Eva with,
yeah.
Gabrielle Union. I haven't seen all of this, I don't think, but that is also based off of Taming of the Shrew.
That came up on my
list makes sense
too when I was researching stuff, and I've never seen that one, so...
Yeah. But basically, the boyfriends of the sisters hire a dude to fake date her because she's too, like, into their relationships. And I think Coolio's in this movie.
Coolio.
So, I think. I could be wrong. But anyway.
Taming of the Shrew, though, is really good.
Yeah, if you want to read a Shakespeare play that's going to be funny, read Taming of the Shrew.
Shakespeare really only has two emotions. He wants you to, like, cry or laugh. There's no in between.
But true. Also, just so everybody feels a little bit better about themselves, I will only read Shakespeare if I have, like, a tried and true, like, modern translation with me on the next page. Or, like, somewhere that I can easily access, because I cannot read that Shakespeare and sit there and be like, I know exactly what he's talking about. So, thank God for adaptations.
Yeah, the one that's on both sides. That one's great.
Yeah, amen. That's like Spark Notes, like Shakespeare for Dummies. Okay, going into books / I think this is also a movie, so transitioning back into my books now that we got our 10 Things I Hate About You topic checked off.
Please watch that
I have on here... So I also took a class in college. It was not Shakespeare only, but it was like a modern adaptation retellings of the classics. Like, that's what the class was about. I don't remember the exact name of it, though. And one of the books that we had to read in class, which we also ended up watching the movie of, I think that there is a movie adaptation, is 1,000 Acres by Jane Smiley. And it's actually like an award-winning novel. And it is based on King Lear. And so the premise of the book, just because I don't remember all the details, but I remember really enjoying the book. And I think I still have the copy that I had to buy for class on my shelves. But this old farmer decides to, like, incorporate all of his land and all of his farm and break it up between his 3 daughters. And then the youngest daughter declines, and she's like, nah, I don't want to do this. And so, like, all of the family drama starts to come out, and you learn a lot of stuff and a lot of, like, traumatizing dark secrets about the family and the dad, and you, like, go back through, like, some of the daughters' marriages and, like, things that are going on with their husband, and it's a very good drama. So if anybody is interested in, like, a novel that is award-winning, and then you can watch the movie, I highly recommend 1,000 Acres.
That came up a bunch when I was researching stuff, too, so that's really good to know. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, I read it so long ago. Probably, what year did I start? Like 2010, 2011. So it's been a quick minute, but I just remember enjoying it. So, stamp of approval.
I love it. I wrote down for mine These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. And I started reading that a while ago, and then I put it down because, like, I wasn't in the proper headspace for it at the time, but it was really good. It wasn't because it was bad. And I own the paperback copy of it, so I really want to read it at some point. But there's that one, and then she also just came out with Immortal Longings. I think we have the Fairy Loot edition of that one. It's so pretty.
I think so, yes. I think we do have that.
But that one.
So now I need to read that series.
Antony and Cleopatra. That's a retelling of that one, which is kind of cool, because I feel like no one ever touches Antony and Cleopatra.
Yeah, there's, like, the popular ones, and then there's the ones that are kind of niche.
I have have to admit, I don't know, this is completely random, but I have to admit that I had to read Macbeth and Othello around the same time in high school, like my sophomore year, and I get those confused all the time, and I can't remember a fucking thing about them. But I like interswitch them in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Macbeth and that, or Othello, or no, switched. And I can't.
What's the one where he like falls in love with his mom?
I don't know. Macbeth or Othello?
I don't know. On my list, which I think was the most surprising, so I also love Neil Gaiman, but I haven't read the Sandman graphic novels, but I have seen the first season of the show on Netflix, so...
See, I've read the first...
It is what it is.
2 graphic novels, but I haven't watched the show yet. It's been on my list for ages, and I haven't watched it.
But while I was doing research for this episode, I discovered that a few of the volumes are actually inspired by Shakespeare. And, like, Shakespeare is actually a character that comes in later on down the line.
Really?
In
That's cool.
The series. And, like, I think the Sandman or one of the characters makes a deal with Shakespeare and says, "Oh, your plays, your writing will be well known long before you're gone." But apparently, there's like a plot twist about like what it is. Obviously, I don't know because I haven't gotten that deep. But he has 2 volumes, and one of them is called The Tempest, and the other one is called A Midsummer Night's Dream. And so, like, he gives a nod to Shakespeare through the character, like, or the person of Shakespeare, the character in his version, and then also he has 2 volumes of his comic that are based off of that.
That's so cool. Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, now I want to go and, like, read it all, just so that way I know what everyone's talking about.
I know, I read the first 2 and it's really good. And then I think I've watched the first episode of the show and it stuck pretty close to the graphic novel, so... I liked it.
Yeah, the first season I thought was really good, but I have no basis on it, so I'm just gonna continue thinking that it was really good.
Sometimes it's better to watch it first, I think. Because knowing the book ahead of time ruins it.
Yeah, so I'm always that person, like, that's not how it happened in the book.
Yeah.
That's not what this character looks like. I will forever be salty. This is completely random, but I have to say it since we're on the topic. But I will be salty forever that when Holes, the movie with Shia, came out. I love Shia LaBeouf, or I
never read that book, so...
I love that book. I read it when I was young, and I was like, oh my god, they're making a Holes movie! And I hated that they made Stanley like a skinny little weak boy, because in the book, he's like this chubby nerdy boy, because obviously, like, he has bad luck, like, he's always down on the times, like, everything's rough for him, and I'm like, again... I get it, fat shaming, like, Hollywood isn't ready for that yet, but I'm like, come on, he's a chubby kid, just make him chubby, and like...
For all the other chubby kids out there.
Yeah, and see him, like, change while he's out there digging holes.
Okay, but I feel the same exact way about Ready Player One.
Me too!
It's the same fucking thing, because he's chubby in the book, and then he, like, works really hard to lose weight or whatever, and then...
Yeah, and I feel like it would have been more impactful if he was chubby, because the whole point is that nobody does anything in real life anymore. Like, everybody's just on their...
chairs and Wall-E.
Yes, and you're telling me that you have this, like, hot dude who's, like, all muscular, just running around with his AR goggles on? Like, no. And he, like... The whole plot line of him being like, I have a lock on my device because I have to force it to make me to work out before I, like, go online. I'm like, great. Yeah. Where is that?
I know.
Where is that? Where he has to, like, learn how to run away from the villains because he realizes that if he doesn't get active, he's gonna die. Yep. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's like a whole section
Chubby
of
people
the book
unite.
Just gone. I get it. You only have, like, 2 hours, but come on.
I know. I'm always, like, a sucker for that. But anyway, sometimes it's better to watch the movie first.
Yeah, sometimes don't read the book first.
Back to adaptations. I have Enter the Body by Joy McCallugh on here. I haven't read it, but it was on, I forget what influencer email that I'm a part of. It was like, oh, you can request this book now. And it sounded so interesting to me that I wanted
I think
a
I've
copy
seen that
of it,
floating
and I
around,
just
but
don't.
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't have it. Like, I wasn't special enough to get a copy, but it is about four of the main, like, Shakespeare girls who, like, have a tragic ending, and they're all just, like, talking to each other about
Oh my god,
their
that sounds
tragic
amazing.
life. Yeah, hold on, let me pull up, the actual thing. Let me see. I have it in here for anybody who's interested, but it did sound interesting to me, and I was like, I need to read this. So, Enter the Body. It says, what better way to read about the bard than with a novel in verse? Joy's extraordinary YA novel gives four dead teenage girls from Shakespeare's plays a chance to compare notes. Juliet, Ophelia, Cordelia, and Lavinia tell their stories in their own words, sharing their lives, loves, and tragic endings.
That sounds really cool.
I know, and I want to read it, and everyone else should read it too. Like, we can make this a book club book. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, throwing things out there. We'll all read it together.
I'm sorry, I just got completely distracted because I randomly remembered a thing on YouTube from like years ago. You know, like in the era when the shoes, let's get some shoes.
Yeah.
In that era of YouTube, there was like a guy who would go into the play and then talk to the female characters. He'd be like, Juliet, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to ditch this guy. And I'm trying to find the guy. I'm trying to find it.
Okay, while you do that, though, that brings up another one that I have on my list that I want to actually read now that I know it exists, but it's called Juliet Immortal. Have you heard of this?
It sounds maybe like it's ringing a bell. What is it?
Okay, hold on. Let me find the summary. But basically, Juliet and Romeo are like immortal enemies because they are granted immortality after they both die, and they are fighting over the souls of mortal lovers. So Juliet finds somebody who she's like actually in love with. She gets like a second chance of love, but before she gets to have this second chance at love, she has to defeat her enemy, Romeo.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
And there's a sequel called Romeo Redeemed. So I'm like, if this first book is good, then I need to read the second book. But it just sounded interesting. I was like, oh, this is a new take. Like, they get to live on forever and like find mortal people to love.
It's called Sassy Gay. There's a whole series of these YouTube videos, and it's called Sassy Gay Friend, circa 2010, if you were wondering. And it's not just Shakespeare. He goes into other ones too. Like there's a Great Expectations video, but he'll like go into Hamlet or whatever and be like, Ophelia, what are you doing? You need to drop this guy. And he like yells at all the females. It's amazing. Everyone should look that up. But back on topic. Another book I have on here is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. And this is on my radar because one of my old roommates was obsessed with this book. Obsessed. And then I was supposed to read it and I never did. But I don't think it's an adaptation, but I think it's about a bunch of college kids who study Shakespeare or are fans of Shakespeare, or I don't know, he's involved in some way, so I wanted to shout that one out too. I've heard it's good.
The last one on my list of like I have not read but sounds interesting is a book called Verona Comics. And this one is Romeo and Juliet, obviously. And it's about a guy and a girl who are from rival comic book stores. And then they meet and they fall in love, and, you know, they have a feud. The families have a feud, but like
a comic feud.
Obviously. Yes. Comic book stores.
I love that.
There's also, now that I'm thinking about it, I have to figure out what the name of this book is called. But I got a book in the mail, I think last holiday season, where the guy and the girl are from feuding, like, fast food or mom and pop shop food places. So, like, one family sells some type of food and the other family sells a different type of food, and they're feuding, and then they meet.
That's
I have to
cute.
find it now. Yes. I need to look this up. I just don't even know what to freaking write.
Contemporary romance. Yeah, I don't know. I will say that I do get kind of tired of all the Romeo and Juliet adaptations. Like, can we adapt something else, please?
Wow, Google just is on it. I typed in like a very specific string of words and it came up. It's called The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park. And it says Chloe and Peter's families each have a restaurant in the local mall food court. And it is holiday themed. It's a YA rom-com. So if anybody is interested in rivalry.
I always need more holiday books.
Yes, so if you need that, I know it's spooky season, but you can add it to your list. It says that one of them has Korean food and the other one has Chinese food. They have a Chinese food restaurant and a Korean food restaurant, and they're both in the mall, and they're rivals, and then chaos ensues because romance. So,
I love it.
Okay, is that it? Is anything else? I think that, like,
that's all
we
I have on
covered
my list.
a lot of stuff in here. I'm sure that there are a ton more. I just have not read any yet. Oh, there was one more thing, one more fun fact, I think. I don't know if everybody already knew this, but I'm not a big, I think it's John Green? Let me see. Yeah, John Green. So, The Fault in Our Stars, apparently that comes from Shakespeare because there is a quote from Julius Caesar, and he says, "The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves."
Oh.
And I was like, where was I? Like, I was
I've
under
read
a
that
rock or
play.
something. Like, is this about
the
us? I don't know. But, ending on that fun fact, like, I feel like that's really interesting, and I should have known that, and everyone's gonna be like, duh, I knew that, I read it, but
you know,
anyway.
We can both be done together.
I'm not, like, the biggest John Green like I don't think I've ever read any of his books,
haven't read
but
any
anyway.
of his books. I follow him on social media though, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, him and his brother are great guys. Like, love the bros, but I just have not gone into any of the novels or the movies, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, we're starting our game, which oddly enough is also based around Shakespeare quotes. So I am going to be reading a few different quotes. Some of them are actual Shakespeare and some of them are not. And you have to figure out if
I'm going to be amazing or
they are real or not.
I don't know which.
We'll see. We'll see if these quotes lead me astray or not. So we're going to run with it. Okay. Mingle not with those who sow discord, for their poisoned tongues shall be the serpents that coil around thy fate.
I have no idea. I'm gonna say fake.
That is fake.
Yes, I took a shot in the dark.
Alright.
That's a good fake quote.
Yeah. I got shout out to this website. Okay. Doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt thou the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love.
I think that's real.
Yeah, that's Hamlet.
I remember this part of the middle bit, but I don't know. Yay, I did
it. Okay. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
I don't know. Fake?
That is real. According to Goodreads, that's from Hamlet.
Oh,
alright. Let's see. In the tapestry of life, we each weave our own threads, and thus we are the authors of our destiny.
Real.
That's fake.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, fake Shakespeare quote.
That sounded like some Tempest shit or something. I don't know.
That is not Shakespeare
right now, so.
Okay, let's see. Love is a tempestuous sea, and we mere sailors on its tumultuous waves.
Real?
That's also fake.
Son of a bitch!
Let's see. You speak an infinite deal of nothing.
I'm gonna say real.
Yeah, the Merchant of Venice.
I was gonna say, that sounds like something sassy a character would say.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear.
I have no idea. Real.
Yeah, Julius Caesar.
Yes!
Okay. We'll end on a good one. Okay.
I think I won. I think I got more rights than wrongs, but I don't know.
Alright, the one we're ending on. To be or not to be? That is the question.
Whether 'tis... I used to know this whole entire speech. Like a nerd.
Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer. This quote always reminds me... It's from Hamlet, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. This quote always reminds me of Billy Madison. Have you seen that movie?
Ages ago. I don't... Is it in it?
So in the movie, he has to... like, graduate from all of the different grades, right, in order to take over the dad's company, and he's competing with, like, the dude who actually works at the company.
Yeah.
And at the end, when he's in high school, they do, like, a competition. It's like a educational decathlon or whatever.
I think
and one of them is doing the play, and then the dude that is competing against him is like dressed up and has a skull in his hand. He's like, to be or not to be, and then Adam Sandler comes out and he goes, I think he goes. Pfft, and like walks off the stage. I think because he like doesn't remember any of the words.
A classic.
Yes, definitely. But anyway, that is it for our episode today. If you had fun and you want to hear more adaptations of different classic literature, let us know and we can find more classic stuff.
We were torn between Shakespeare and Jane Austen for this first one. So if you want Jane Austen, let us know.
Yeah, we can also throw in some super old stuff like Dante's Inferno, which I have tons of adaptations on due to
that's all you can
said college class.
It sounded cool though.
We could do tons of stuff, so let us know. I feel like eventually we'll get to it, even if no one is interested, because we're interested. So you'll be hearing from us and all of our adaptations.
I crochet
soon,
now,
I'm sure.
okay? I also read classic literature.
We're not English majors, but, you know, I guess you can settle. Settle for us.
We can teach you some stuff, maybe.
Don't forget to follow us on social. We're at Emo Girls Guide everywhere.
And our book pick next month is going to be The Shining, because I visited the hotel recently and I wanted to read the book. So if you want to read
we're gonna watch the
movie,
we're gonna read the book. I'm rereading it. We're gonna watch. Everybody join us on Fable. Also at Emo Girls Guide on Fable. Find us on TikTok, Twitter/X, whatever we want to call it. We don't use it, but we're there. Instagram, all the things.
We're everywhere.
Yes. And may your day be blessed with main character energy.
Main character energy.